This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I am Tim Gordon. We've got a lot to get to this morning. We will, of course, have reaction to Friday's landmark decision by the Supreme Court. That decision got protesters taking to the streets across the country and here in Portland. But of course, the big story this weekend is the weather as we are hitting a heat wave. Temperatures will be in the 90s at least. Chris McGinnis has been watching the latest models and has our updated forecast. Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, good morning, Tim. The key word that you mentioned there, at least, yes, because there is the possibility that some parts of the Willamette Valley may get up to 100 degrees on Sunday, tomorrow. Sunday will probably be the peak of the heat for inland valleys, and then for you folks east of the Cascades, that heat will peak on Monday. That's Sunday and Monday. Let's get you out the door right now, and I want to give you this beautiful look at the Stoller Vineyard camera here in Dayton. It is gorgeous out there this morning. The sun is up, the silhouette of Mount Hood off to the right, and the sky is clear and blue, and a little bit of a light breeze beginning to develop as well. All right, we're waking up to 58 degrees at PDX. Last check, it's 55 in Scappoose. And the big picture across the state of Oregon right now, we do have some cool pockets. Eastern Oregon right now, enjoy them while you have them. It's 39 right now in Burns. It's 40 in Baker City. Eastern Oregon will have no problem climbing at least into the upper 80s, I think, this afternoon. The Oregon coast off to a comfortable start as well. All right, here's the news. We have a heat advisory in effect for all of Western Oregon and Western Washington, from the Cascades to the coast, for this weekend. And for the Willamette Valley, that heat advisory starts at noon today and it runs all the way through 10 p.m. on Monday. So 3 days of 90-degree plus heat expected in the valley. Here's our day planner for today. Not only will it start to get pretty warm by late morning, but the breeze is going to pick up as well. We'll start to feel that east breeze really cranking a bit. So it'll be that hair dryer in the face kind of day, right? With highs topping out in the lower 90s this afternoon. By the way, our average first 90 of the year is June 19th. So we're, on par for that. The latest one to ever occur, October 5th. There was one summer that we actually didn't post a 90-degree reading. I think that was 1954. But we're going to tack on 3 today. I will leave you with this gorgeous look of Cannon Beach and Haystack Rock. The beach will be the place to cool off this weekend. However, it will be warm at the beach both days. We're talking 80s to near 90 at the Oregon coast this weekend. Your full forecast and a look ahead to when we cool off, that comes up in just a few minutes, Tim.
Okay, we've been warned. Thank you very much, Chris, and we'll talk to you soon. Well, cooling spaces are open across the metro area this weekend, but not overnight shelters. Multnomah County, they've extended library hours until 8 p.m. so people can spend the hottest part of the day inside. But the county is not opening cooling shelters where people can sleep, since overnight temperatures are expected to cool each night. The situation is similar in Beaverton and other counties across the area.
Our approach right now is to make sure people know where the public spaces are, where they can cool off during the hottest hours on Sunday, and then assuming that the overnight temperatures are going to give us all a break.
Now in Multnomah County, people can also call 211 and they will help with transportation options for you. Okay, this was the sight around the nation on Friday. Protesters on the ground in major cities following a landmark decision by the Supreme Court. 5 decades of debate and weeks of speculation ending with the High Court overturning Roe v. Wade. In a 6-3 decision, the justices upheld a Mississippi law that bans almost all abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Then, in a 5-4 vote, justices formally struck down Roe v. Wade, the 1973 ruling which provided federal protection for abortion rights. The decision reverts such laws back to the states, and nearly half the state governments have laws or plan to add laws that ban abortion. Oregon and Washington are not among them. Now, here in Portland, thousands gathered downtown, largely to protest against the Supreme Court's decision. KGW's Alma McCarty talked with demonstrators last night.
Friday night, people filled parks and marched through Portland's streets, protesting the decision by the United States Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade.
It's a dark time for women's healthcare and women's rights.
I was born after Roe v. Wade, and I never imagined that this is something I would ever have to encounter in my lifetime.
The ruling ending the nearly 50-year precedent that guaranteed a constitutional right to an abortion.
Today, women and trans people are less free than they were yesterday. And if they're less free, then we all are less free, including those of us who have male bodies.
I'm still young, and I don't want this to be my future, that I'm having these bands put on my body.
With signs and speeches, demonstrators like Aurora Moore vowed to fight back.
My mother worked for Planned Parenthood the whole time I was growing up. I volunteered for multiple different organizations that have tried to protect reproductive rights. And I've heard the stories from women who lived before Roe. And I've heard about the back alley abortions. I've heard about the people who died. I've heard about the people whose lives were irreconcilably changed because they didn't have the right to protect their own bodies and make decisions about a very personal healthcare choice.
Amid the outcry, anti-abortion advocates in Oregon say the ruling by the court's conservative majority is a victory.
This day, it's an incredible day, and we weren't sure that it would ever happen. We have the ability to have those discussions, to debate those policies within our own states, with our own legislatures.
Although Oregon and Washington have protections in place for abortion access, many worry for pregnant people in other states.
I'm concerned about unsafe abortions and people crossing the border trying to get stuff done.
There are people right now who are pregnant who don't even know it and don't even realize that they're being affected by this. They have no idea.
It's important to be here to show that all of these people are not willing to just take this in stride and say this is our new reality, that we're going to continue showing up, we're going to continue fighting.
In Portland, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Now, that protest was peaceful, but later in the evening, our photographer on the scene saw a small group in the crowd breaking windows on the corner of 5th and Yamhill in downtown, along with graffiti at the new courthouse in Portland. We reached out to Portland police. We're still waiting to hear if any arrests have been made in that. Well, Oregon and Washington are among the blue states on this map behind me, where abortions are still legal after yesterday's ruling. Along with the governor of California, Jay Inslee of Washington, and Oregon's Kate Brown are committing to what they call a firewall for reproductive rights. We talked to an Oregon state health official and a reproductive rights lawyer who said despite the ruling at the nation's highest court, not much will change here in Oregon and Washington. That's because abortion is protected under law in both states. Now, in Oregon, abortion access is protected under the Reproductive Health Equity Act established in 2017. That expanded access for people to get abortions and for healthcare providers to perform abortions regardless of immigration status or insurance barriers. But not all states have those protections, including our neighbors to the east in Idaho. Advocates say they anticipate people will come to Oregon to get an abortion.
We are expecting an estimated 235% increase in people traveling to the state. We also...
There are concerns that could put more strain on the healthcare system, along with fears providers may face litigation if they provide an abortion to a person from out of state. That is yet to be seen. Okay, traffic alert for the weekend. A 2-mile stretch of I-84 West is shutting down for over 48 hours. And the closure started last night and goes through 4 a.m. Monday. Now, this is near I-205, and there will be a detour in place, but expect heavier delays than usual in that area. This is so TriMet can get work done on a new light rail bridge over the freeway. The on-ramp at Northeast 102nd will also be closed. Well, speaking of traveling, the price of gas is actually dropping slowly. In Oregon, getting 10 gallons of gas will cost you an average of $55.13. That price is down by about 30 cents from nearly a week ago. Now in Washington, your total is 1 penny less, $55.12 for 10 gallons. That's down 43 cents from last week. AAA says demand has dropped slightly, which is why we're seeing prices drop. But analysts say do not expect a dramatic drop anytime soon. Well, still to come, we'll turn our attention back to the weather. Hot weather is sure to get some people in the water. What officials want you to know before cooling off in our state's rivers.